What's up, Basement Lounge fans? Welcome to another installment of the VIP Table. This is our one-on-one interview show every month with some very special guests. We bring someone on and we talk about their industry, talk about their projects, and get to know them a little bit more. This month's guest, though, we don't really need to get to know her because we've gotten to know her a lot. She's been on the show twice before already. We just had her on call into the Valentine's Day special we did, and we had her on as a guest during season 1. And if you've ever endured relationship drama and needed to laugh about it, she has been one of the go-tos with her show, The Divorce Diaries. And we are proud and excited to welcome back to the show. As soon as I can figure out how Zoom works here, we're bringing in Michele Traina to the show. As soon as it loads, there it goes. There's a picture, and there she is.
Hot single mom shit. That's what we're welcome here.
Hashtag hot single mom shit. I love it. Let's get that trending.
That's something happening here. You know that?
Yeah.
You got grated cheese.
Oh, you're going full Italian.
Oh.
Yes.
Pecorino.
What kind? Pecorino?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
I'm a single mom, but that's
making sure. You're a single Italian mom, so we got to make sure we got a lot of stereotypes to fit in here. So.
No, my daughter will only eat this, and she'll eat like the pieces of it, right, Grace? Well, that's what she did last week.
Serious question. Is the rind of that good? Like, I know people use Parmesan rind in a lot of things.
Good. It's delicious.
Is it? Okay.
I would eat with a cracker and some wine. Yeah, I'll eat it for you right now. Look, here. Straight up on the show.
Yes. I love it. My Instacart just dropped off my groceries. I have a chunk of Parmesan and a glass of wine and a bottle of wine in there. So
yummy. And you get one of these. You get the strawberries with it.
Really? Strawberries and cheese. Oh God. I've messed up, apparently. I've made a mistake.
It's becoming something.
Fantastic. All right. So, yeah, like I said, so Michele and I met it's already been 2019 we did that? Holy crap, it's already been 2 years.
2 years.
Although this past year is just kind of a blur. So
it wasn't like a real year.
No, it didn't count. 2020 is going to be the shortest chapter of the history books in 100 years. It's just what happened in 2020? It sucked. Everything was bad. We moved on. But we met 2019 doing the Dog and Funny show here in Dayton over at the Funny Bone with Doug Bass and Mike Wells. And that show was so much fun because for the first time in a long career, it felt like I was doing like a proper like a comedy, like those comedy variety tours like you see the comedians do.
It was like, and I'm so sorry. I'm on a meeting right now, Grace, and I can't watch you right now. So this is what life's like. Because when I was on the road with Doug doing that show, I didn't have I love my child. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful cartwheel, but like this would happen. That's our comedy. Anyway, I missed. That was a fun tour, and that was Doug's first time on the road for that show. It was his only time on the road that show, but I love Doug.
Doug's
yes,
great.
honey. No, Doug had done it in LA, and what happened was he had gotten a bookings with some of the Ohio Funny Bones, and I think that was my favorite show, the one in Dayton.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not just saying that to kiss my ass.
Oh no, not at all. I'm not. I'm saying that because the first one wasn't bad. I just felt like the vibe there was better. I don't know why.
Because I was there.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't just say that. It totally is about the people. I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan, so people and the relationships and how he promotes empathy. And I feel like that was a good vibe of the comics. I met you, and we've stayed in touch. And I felt overall that one out of all three was the most memorable. So hey, if it is about you, that's great. you're doing something right.
I'll take it. Well, what needs to happen is you need to come back and you need to do a show at Wiley's, because Wiley's, as far as comedy clubs go, is like the coup de grace. I mean, it's Ohio's oldest club. There's you walk in and like Funny Bone's fine because it feels like a comedy venue, but like Wiley's has like this almost like like you feel like you're home.
Well, right, it's old school comedy club. It's like it's not a and I love Funny Bone, don't get me wrong too, because I've done Funny Bone with Divorce Diaries. It's just different. It's like, I love me Houlihan's, but I also like my mom and pop shop. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the Italian restaurant down the street. So it's a little different because you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah. I like my Five Guys and I like my McDonald's, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It was great too because the first time I got to because we met technically the morning before or the morning of, because we went, you and me and Doug went and did the news show that morning.
Yes.
And then we got to the venue, and because I am always obscenely early to everything I do. Well, it's you say that, except that particular one, we were all there, me, Mike, Doug, and Doug kept saying like, where is Michele? And Michele comes walking in, gorgeous dress, big old cup of coffee in her hand, and was like, where were you? She's like, well, I went to get the cup of coffee, because I have to say it like you do. Coffee, but then I saw the store and there were these shoes, and I just had to get the shoes because they look so good with the dress.
And those shoes were like on sale for like $10. And I could not pass that up. I know that was wrong. I should have not done the shoes.
No, but you know what? Because the deal was, because at first I think there was kind of the air of like, are you fucking kidding me? And then you said, no, they were $10. And it was like, oh, okay. No, that's good. That's fine. No. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like, I also, yes, I'm making you more grated cheese. So I know, this is my life. I brushed my hair today too, just so you know. So when people see this,
you look lovely.
I did brush it, but this is the new look I'm going for. It's like single mom succeeding in the struggle styling.
You look lovely.
Thank you. But yeah, I had that show when we did the morning show when I first met you. That I was in such a bad relationship with another guy.
Oh no.
Well, it had ended, but then he texted me, or I texted him the night before, and then right before we went on, we were texting. I was texting him in the car, so that's all I remember. I mean, I remember more than that, but yeah, I know. I'm so glad I'm rid of that guy.
Yes, good.
Yeah, you remember relationships with those experiences, though?
God, so many. I mean, I've been single for 6 years, but yes, oh God. Oh.
Technically, so have I. Like, I haven't actually been in a committed relationship. Like, I think they are in my head.
Yeah. Oh, I can relate to that.
I talk to my daughter about this openly. Like, if someone doesn't want to be with you, you don't spend your time with them. But what bothers me is that they poke at you. You know, they're like, "Oh yeah, of course I want to be with you. You're amazing. You're wonderful." You know, but like it's like tap 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 tap, and you look behind you, and you're like, "Where did you?" Remember people used to do that?
Oh yeah.
And then they wonder why you get so angry.
It's exactly what it feels like. It feels like they're telling you, "Oh yeah, I'm here in spirit." Anyway, you know, they're not actually there.
So I can throw it across the room. Just kidding.
So what is, because 2020 took a lot out of comedy in general, and it's still on the rebound a little bit. And as somebody who has put their whole life into this show, into the Divorce Diaries, what's kind of like, what's the last year been like with the show, and kind of where is it getting to now?
Okay, so, and I apologize for like moving the computer around like a crazy person, but the show, because I was making my daughter lunch, but that's a good segue into where the show has gone. And the show has gone into making a TV pilot. So I always envisioned Divorce Diaries being a television show, just because I felt, or what it is right now, a live show. But I felt like, the story of my day to day needs to be told episodically, because it's a little like, everybody has the underdog in them. Everybody has underdog moments, right? And that's to me what I am. And I'm not saying that to like self-deprecate or put myself down, but it's like I got married. I moved away from my acting career to have this family because I thought that's what I should have done. That's what you're supposed to do, financially stable, all these things. Then I veered off of what I really love. I didn't settle in with somebody that was really the love of my life. And then I got divorced, and that was it was like shaking a snowball, right? And then you're like, I have to get out of this snowball, no matter how bad it is. If I get out of the snowball, even though I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I got out of the snowball, broken glass and everything, landed at my parents' house with my 92-year-old grandmother, my handicapped dog, my twin brother lives there, and it was like still better than staying married. So I feel like if I could handle that, I could handle the pandemic. But the pandemic was different than a divorce because you weren't allowed to go out and do what my craft was in person. It was just weird. Right. So it was definitely scary at first. And then once I got everything under control, I did manage, like I did what any business person was going to do. Like they took everything they assessed everything and figured how to switch to this platform of virtual and to continue to build and grow, because I was never going to settle up. Like, I just can't do it right now. But now's not the time. No fucking way. Hopefully I can curse. Sorry.
I already did, so it's fine. Okay,
good. So I shifted the live show in person to virtual every other week. I promoted law firms to sponsor my show, or divorce brands to sponsor my show for private events. That worked. And then the other times I just said, hey, here's a free virtual audition for anyone my followers wanted to click in the Zoom link. And then I also, when we could open up again, like small spaces in New Jersey, I did live outdoor shows, did 2 of those. And then now we're back. We're back May 8th, live in Broadway Comedy Club. But also during this time frame of like, you know, what's going on, I just felt like I had to shift to virtual and expanding my audience and start the process of creating this pilot, because I want it on a network. And it's not about being on the network, I should say. It's about, I want to expand this show so that so many people know about it and are relating to it and are connecting to the fight that I have for the underdog, for the single mom, for the person who always gets cast last, for, you know, my special needs students who used to get pushed aside, you know, when it came to certain things, and for the women and men that get pushed aside from their exes. It's like, that's that struggle that I want to promote this comedic story to people on a wider range. So creating the TV pilot, here we are.
So I love that you're doing that. I love that you made a mountain out of a molehill with this thing. And, you know, because also like seeing how taking your content over to TikTok and just the cleverness with the day-to-day routines and, you know, summing it up in 60 seconds, but just, in a way that's goofy and silly and fun and also just relatable too, I think is the big thing.
I'm glad you said relatable. That's my key, is I want to touch other people's lives, and that makes them feel like, you know, The Office was a favorite show of mine, and The Golden Girls, and those are 2 moments where I felt like if I'd watch an episode of those shows, I'd feel better about my life because I could relate to certain moments. And like TikTok is a great way to do that, right? You know, you can connect to people on a level of, you know, we're all in it together. Although I will say TikTok just recently denounced one of my videos as having nudity and sexual activity, and it doesn't.
That is like TikTok's, the only people who don't follow TikTok's community guidelines are TikTok. Like, it is.
I don't even understand. I wrote Happy Easter and I hopped around with the bunny, and they're like,
I swear half the videos on women's accounts on TikTok are videos saying my video was taken down for nudity and there's no nudity in it. It's like, I don't know what it is. I
was offended, but I was like, damn, TikTok, this has been a great ride. Please don't hurt me now.
I like to chalk it up to it just means you're too hot for TikTok.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that the shift, and I tend to go in different directions when I talk, so I apologize, but I think the overall idea is that if you love to do something so much and, you know, that is your craft and that's how you want to make money, figure it out because it's a fight for it. Like that's what we do 90% of the time. Like for me, it's 80%, right? And being a mom is 80%. So how does that work? So I try to meld work and play and work together, even though I know you need to take aside time and just spend with your loved one. But I felt like this is great. I can work on my show. I can build more material. I can spend more time with my daughter. I can focus on the struggles that we're having and put them out there for other people. Because I never could do that when I was teaching full time. I had to really kind of watch my back of like, well, I have to block everyone from my school districts because they might not like certain things. And I don't have to do that. And I left my school district right before the pandemic really hit. Like I had given my 60 days notice in November of 2019. So February 3rd was my last day and I was heading on a plane to Nashville to do the show there. And then March 16th, that everything went to hell. And I was like, wait, what? But if I wouldn't have left, like I would not have had the opportunity to grow. I feel like we all grew somewhat virtually, you know?
We had to. I mean,
yeah.
It was that, or life was about to get really miserable really fast, you know?
Yep.
Because you've been doing some crowdfunding as well, right?
So glad you bring that up. This is why you're amazing. So the way I can get funding for the pilot is that I chose Indiegogo campaigning,
okay.
It's Indiegogo campaign, and you can find it on my Divorce Diary Show website, divorcediaryshow.com. But it is a way for people to donate, get a perk if they donate. So like, you know, right now I'm doing shout outs if they donate any size, right? Like size does not matter, and neither does your relationship status. It's hard. It's hard to raise money when you're like, people are already struggling with money. I struggle with money, you know, but I thought to myself, it's okay. I have a network of people that are on board for the show. I'm going to put myself out there and be transparent. If they can donate, great. If they can't, great. Share it, like it, add a comment, whatever you want to do. I just want to be making people laugh. And here's what we need to do to get to this place. So Indiegogo has been the campaign website, although the campaign is up in 5 days. So I'm debating if I create a new one for production Divorce Diaries, or if I probably will just transfer it to like a GoFundMe, because GoFundMe's ongoing.
Yeah, it's true. Welcome to the world of trying to fund your shit, Michelle. I mean,
I know.
Oh.
But you look at it like this. I think of it as this, like, it is my business. So I just incorporated it, right? Or I just made it an LLC.
Cool.
Yeah, I just did that. And the thing was, I should have done it a while ago, but because now I'm going to be paying, like I have production cost, like, all right, we're going to put it under the company name because it makes sense. And it's also my baby. You know, I have a theater company that is an LLC for children. It's my baby, but like, that's really just focusing on its own clients right now because of Divorce Diaries taking over. So I was like, all right, we got to really set this up so that people are taking even more seriously. And, you know, I'm a one-woman show right now. I have a creative team that's doing an amazing job, but like, it's been a grind. Like the message behind my show is grit and hustle and grind. And like, it is real life. Like that's the real life. That's why I feel like when I watched movies like Crash was certain movies and shows that had that grit in them. I like that because they had that grit. They had to really work to get where they were, you know, like The Wire.
Just in, Michele Traina compares her own life to The Wire. You heard it here first.
It's not, my life is not The Wire, although I did teach in schools like in The Wire, but The Wire was very not acknowledged as the television show that it was by any of the awards and stuff like that. Right? So like, and they're not those shows, a lot of these shows that were like, I'm thinking in my head were underdogs, they made it on a network, you know, but there's a lot of people that don't make, that their product doesn't get there. And I don't know what, you know, whatever the reason may be. And I'm sure there's 1,000 reasons why my show, you know, people can say why it's not going to be on a network right away or why it won't be, which guess what? I don't give a shit because I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep flashing my card. And this is my script. And this is how I took your note. And I came back and here we go. Here it is. I had a producer say that to me. He kind of called me out on my pitch. He's like, you're all over the place. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to turn it around. So I sent him my pitch deck. I sent him my pilot. He ripped apart my pitch deck, but he liked my script.
Good.
And then he ripped it apart after he said he liked it. But he liked it. So like I took the moment of him sending me the message that he read it and said it was funny. I liked it. It's not there yet, but it's you've got something. I took that as a moment of the universe, you know, my deceased father who's looking after me saying, keep doing what you're doing and keep it going. Don't slow down.
Yeah. You can't because the moment life will take a yard from an inch. The moment you give it even a little bit of a chance to impede you in any way, it's going to tenfold. You know, I mean, Rocky Balboa said, you know, nothing is going to hit you as hard as life.
And that's true. Nothing's going to hit. I love that. Thank you. I'm going to put that on my fucking wall today. That I love. That was great. I forgot about that quote. Yeah. And you know, I think that I'm my own worst enemy, right? I get in my own way. I choose the wrong man, or I let myself get distracted. And I started to really understand that writing the pilot, and I'm writing like the series I'm writing it as a series. So I wrote the pilot, but I'm still refining. Taking notes from what I got, knowing that other people are going to give me loads of notes, and trying to understand my vision and my story, because people are going to buy it because they're buying into me, you know? And you know, at the end of the day, if I don't enjoy the process, then what the hell is the point? Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cause the minute it feels like work, it's done. I've sacrificed and canceled many a project because I got to the point where I was like, it just feels like a job now. So,
right. Well, and here's the thing. Here's the kicker. What if the job felt the goal is the job is to feel like it's not a job, right?
Yes.
So your everyday work should feel like look, I'll show you something. This is what I write. I write every morning. I know this is crazy. I write this every morning in my notebook.
I love it. Divorce Diaries on a network.
And I write 3 times in the morning, 3 times, 6 times. And then this one too. I think I want pursuit.
Oh, pursuit. Okay. That's not what I thought it said.
I hate men who be acting like they can't chase a girl.
Right.
Just because they live 2,800 miles away. Mm-hmm. I'm hinting at somebody that I just recently talked to about, and he was like, we live 2,800 miles away. And I was like, and put your running shoes on. Right.
Get moving. It's 2021. Seriously, like there's so many. It's not an inhibitance anymore, guys. It's not none of this whole yeah. I wrote my sweetheart a letter and I'm waiting for it to write me back. It's like hop on Zoom and say, yo, hey, what's up?
But yeah,
an emoji.
I write it every morning, every afternoon, and every night. So it's like 3 times, 6 times, and 9 times. It's something with 2021. You're supposed to do that. Somebody told me that. I was like, all right, I'll do it. Oh. Yes, that's fine. Chocolate kid. Go ahead. You can have 1 bunny. This is my daughter. So you're already in. Say hi to Mike.
Hi. How much gumdrops and jelly beans?
You can have 2 gumdrops and 2 jelly beans and 1 chocolate. Please do not do this to your children at home. Okay, 2, 2, and 2.
She's the cutest thing in the world.
She's the best. And we love your cat. We love Rosie.
Yes, who is at the door right now, sticking her paw underneath, pissed off she can't come in here. But that's just...
Aww.
Well, you know, if she would quit chewing on shit and let her come in here... Or she jumps up on the shelf, looks at my models and just goes, this needs to be on the floor. So, and I'm tired of putting it back together so she can just stay the fuck outside. It's, so you mentioned you've got a whole production team working with you on this thing.
Okay. So I have my creative team that I brought on that is my close, family, basically. So Doug is one of them. And my friend Mark, who is close friends with Doug too, and then a longtime friend, his name is Dave Showrunner, who has been in the film industry since for like over 30 years. And the thing is, I've known Doug since we were in high school. So Doug's a go-to. He's been working with me on Divorce Diaries since it started. So Doug is an executive producer. Mark is an executive producer, and Mark and I known each other through Doug. And he writes. He's an actor, and also he used to be on the Groundlings. So, and Doug as well. But like Dave has so much background in producing stuff that I asked him, I was like, would you be able, like, it started off as, and he lives near me, so he's a Jersey guy. We're all in it together in Jersey, except, well, actually, Mark is LA based, and so is Doug. But, you know, we got some Jersey roots in here. And these were people that I trust and that are willing to help me, and because they believe in the project. So I don't have a production company that's hired me to do the show. Right. I'm self-funding it.
You've got a team of people who know you and know the product.
Exactly. And then I recently had put out a feeler for a director at my alumni, my alma mater. So I went to get my master's at New York University in educational theater. And I reached out to one of my former professors who's also heavily involved in theater in New York. And I said, look, I'm looking for a list of people. And I sent it out to Tish too. I'm looking for cinematographer. I'm looking for director. I wanted to get started to build relationships with people that had liked what I'm doing, right? And then we could meld with. So I met my director, Caitlin Kemp, that way. She was the first. She responded like immediately, and I was like, And we met. We met via Zoom, and I really felt a good vibe. So she's the director. I mean, it just, I feel like it clicked instantly. And I feel very confident with her and that she gets the vision. And I also felt like having a female director would be great because they're going to understand from the fact that I am a female and it's coming from my voice, you know?
No, absolutely. Because you want to make sure that whoever's, you know, in a situation like this where it's a personal project, but you know the director obviously is someone uninvolved. But for them to be able, we talked about relatability a little bit earlier, for them to have that level of relatability, because their job is to kind of guide the ship. So you want to make sure whoever's guiding that ship kind of knows what the hell is being talked about.
And she's taking, like, I do everything on my own in my life. I've always booked my own jobs. I have a manager right now who does help me get work, but like in the past, I've just always done it myself. And this project can't just be done by myself. I can't put up a TV pilot. I can't direct it, produce it, act in it, and do it. So I need a team that I can just throw things at. And Caitlin has been taking everything with production wise and getting the crew and cast, and it's working well. The biggest thing that I have to do right now is fundraise, is like get people to donate to this campaign. And so that's where I'm like, here, I'm doing that. And when I am waking up at 5 a.m., I'm writing like my artist notes, my stand-up notes, going back to the series arc, I'm writing. And then at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, after my daughter started school, I'm back at the grind now. It's like all for the campaign to get funding.
And I know you mentioned, getting on a network, are you thinking like network TV, or are you also open to like a Netflix or a Prime or something like that?
And this is the thing, I got some slack by this producer too for saying like, hey, all you want is it to be on a network, but what do you really want? And I was like, I want to reach people. I want to reach a wider audience. I want people to know this show and have it touch their lives. So when I say network because, what did The Office do for me? For years, it was my relief and my safe place to kind of relax and unwind. I want it on something that would just expand it and have a home for it for a long time, right? So live stream, Netflix is immediately what I think of, just because it's one of the largest live streaming platforms, right? Or sorry, it's one of the largest streaming platforms. Comedy Central. I think of Netflix and Comedy Central because they have a home for comedians, and that's what I am. So, anyone else wants to take a look? Let's talk, boo!
Yeah, because Netflix just loves writing checks to comedians these days. I mean, good.
I know.
You did an open mic at the Cellar. Okay, cool. Here's $100,000 to do a special. It's fine.
I know. What is going on?
But you know what? I'm gonna say this though, considering that Comedy Central just doesn't show stand up anymore.
I don't know. Yeah.
They used to do every Friday night. It was like 3 hours of half-hour specials, and Saturday night they'd show like the uncensored, new Titus special or something like that. Now it's like, here's 10 reruns of Drunk History. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And it's like becoming what MTV was with music videos. But I feel like there's going to be so many more other platforms that come up in the next 10 years, especially with this, the age of Aquarius is honestly supposed to be the expansion of digital times already more than we are now. So like, I am open to so many things. I want the episodic series to grow. I want it to continue. I want it to be in a nice home where it flourishes and it becomes a legacy, for women who are the underdog, who just can't seem to get out of their own way or catch a break, but have enough grit to pick themselves up and keep at it and not quit. So it's like, you have to have that within you. My entire life has been that, and not in a bad way. It's just like, what are you going to choose? To run and cry in the bed? Yeah, sometimes I do that, but then I pick myself up and I figure it out and I go full force, Well,
and you have to, you've got to be able to, as much as you might love things where they're at or be happy with where things are at, you've got to be, especially with what you and I do, we're constantly looking for how to elevate things to the next level, because once it becomes monotonous, and that's a crossroads I'm at right now, because I've been doing this, it'll be 16 years in October, and I'm kind of looking at like where I'm at now, and I'm like, okay, where am I at now compared to like where I started? What's next? Because I got to figure out, just figuring that out. And so with a show like yours, you got to think, okay, here's what the show has been for now. Taking it to an episodic series seems like, like a great logical step forward. Beyond, have you started looking beyond that as well, or is that just kind of like where your focus is right now?
Oh, I always I get vision boards out of like, where do I want, like a couple of years ago, even when I started this, I shouldn't even say when I started it. When I first, I think, was at Caroline's with the show, I remember writing down what I envisioned long term, right? Like I envisioned this as an entertainment brand. I envisioned that there's an episodic series on a network. I envisioned that it's a live comedy show that travels throughout the country. And I envision, multiple smaller brands popping up from that, I mean, there's a Divorce Diaries like book. There's a coloring book for children with special needs, for parents with special needs, for parents who have children with special needs. Because that's a big predominant issue too with not issue, but central theme of the show is there's a lot of struggle within being a parent with a child who, she doesn't have like a disability where she's like, got to have my attention 24/7, but sometimes she does. She, diagnosed with ADHD, has anxiety from a pandemic, doesn't even want to hear that label. Is she really labeled? All those things. Then when she was 2, when I was getting divorced, wasn't speaking. Was it selective mutism? Was she on the spectrum? We had to get tested for all that. All that stuff in itself, there's not a real voice for it on any network television show. There's here and there pieces, but it's not reality. I look at those shows and I'm like, this ain't reality. You're not sitting in the bed crying. Like, what am I doing?
Because like we had the ABC had that show for a couple of years called Single Parents.
Yes, I liked it a little bit, but I also felt like
it was a funny show, but I was like, because my mom was a single parent up until she got married when I was 10, but I can still remember it's like that's not being a single parent. It was one of those, it's like a lot of sitcoms where this isn't how people talk. This isn't like none of these kids are realistic. The kids don't act like this, don't talk like this. Adults don't talk like this or act like this. There's not that. Sometimes, especially when you're dealing with comedy in a broad network sense, a lot of times the realism is sacrificed for the sake of a joke or something like that, and finding that balance between the realism and what's funny is the struggle.
So that's a good point, and that's where I trying to make it. That's why Divorce Diaries would be different, because there's a lot of improv based. Even though I wrote the script out, there's a lot of improv within the structure, right? So I'll tape a recording that I'll tape a conversation I have with my daughter, right, about like a boy liking a boy, and it was not a funny conversation, but the truth of it was funny. Like I was like, this conversation makes no sense, Mommy. I don't want to like a boy, but I think you do. No, I hate like it and it got really intense. But I was like, but the humor in it was the honest reaction, and you don't get that in shows like that. And then maybe it's because they're main like they're streamlined networks. I don't know, but I did like Single Parents. I didn't watch a whole lot of it because I'm a single parent and I'm working full time. And I think that's the funny thing is like, well, is this, I mean, and it might have been spoken by a real single parent, but then it gets watered down and then it gets changed and shifted. My hope would be that Divorce Diaries would be picked up by someone that really wants to get the authenticity of my story out.
Because it's the authenticity, I think, that makes stuff that, people will always remember and relate back to the things that meant something to them. And we keep bringing up this word relatable, but if it's not relatable, it's not going to be memorable, because if it's not relatable, no one's going to ever we talk, whenever we talk about a song that means something to us or a film, it's because in some way we related to it. Nobody's favorite film is Porky's because it's an unrelatable film. It's hilarious and dated in 2021. Couldn't make that movie today, but there's nothing relatable about it. So that's why it never comes up in like a top 10 list. We talk about top 10 raunchy comedies, but that's why people talk about their favorite film is something like, honestly, like even like a Bridesmaids.
And like Talladega Nights is one of my favorite comedic movies, okay? Because I watched that over and over and over again after it came out on video or DVD, whatever. And video. Listen to my old ass talk about Blockbuster.
I still do it.
And you're younger than me, and I'm like, oh my God. I think too that like if you can write a show, like again, showing my age, but if you can write a show like The Golden Girls and you can connect to an 8-year-old like I think I was 8, about middle-aged women and their sex lives, then you're like, that's gold, and I mean that's what I hope to do with Divorce Diaries. Like that's my dream. In like connecting with like my middle school students used to watch The Office. Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, I remember the kid was watching on his phone when we were going to a field trip. And I was like, oh, you like The Office? He's like, yeah, I love The Office. And I was like, and like all of them were like, yeah, we love The Office. And they were in 7th grade. And I was like, now see, that is what it's because the universal theme of like natural feeling of like the oddball out or, being left out of a relationship. And like, that's kind of what I tried to hook in with Divorce Diaries, right? With like, she sticks up for that underdog, even though that people even though she keeps making her own mistakes and people keep like kind of pushing her out of the way, she gets back in there. And then when the time gets tough, she shows up, maybe she trips and shows up, but shoes that she breaks.
Yeah, but then she just goes and finds another $10 sale and gets some great shoes, and The
opening scene is Doug entering my apartment, mm-hmm. and like he's videotaping in this script the whole time. But the opening scene, or one of this, sorry, not the opening scene, 2 scenes after, is me not having enough time, but I go and get coffee and trip on my way to get coffee.
I can totally see that happening. But it's speaking to so many people have had that experience. How many times do we show up late to work carrying the drink cup that made us late to work? I mean, times I call into work, guys, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late, and I walk in with a Coke from McDonald's. It's like, oh, that's why you were late. It's like, I mean, it's $1. That's what made like one of my favorite sitcoms of all time is Mike and Molly, because there's a lot in that show that I can relate to.
Oh yeah,
other people can't. And same with Cheers is to me is the god tier sitcom.
Cheers is great.
Cheers is my favorite sitcom of all time. But again, there was a relatability to that. People who were dealing with alcoholism, who could relate to Sam, who were dealing with the feeling kind of like they were the odd one out with Shelley Long's character. With Diane. Thank you, God.
Diane.
Jesus.
Yeah, fail. The preconceived start of their life, they thought they were going to be this winner, right? This big success, and like the baseball scene with love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kirstie Alley's character was like a hot mess all the time, right? Remember?
Oh God, I miss Kirstie Alley.
And
you had Rhea Perlman's character, who you talk about failed relationships left and right. Good God,
7 different baby daddies or something. Remember that? The best.
Kelsey, being Norm, and there's so much relatability, and also for me it was so relatable because like the best memories I have are just me and my friends at the regular bar, every Friday or whatever, just dealing with life over a beer. So those are the kind of things people look for. And so with a show like Divorce Diaries, it's there's so many people who haven't felt that representation, which is a big thing nowadays with entertainment that it needs to be explored.
I mean, I feel you on that, and I appreciate that comment because I want to tap so much into that with people on a bigger level. And I think that like the dating component is a predominantly big theme for me in the show because it's a big theme in my life that I can't seem to get out of my own way. And I, even this last weekend, I just was sat in bed and I was like, it just happened again. And I'm writing a pilot about it. And I was like crying because I just was like, is somebody else watching me go through this right now so they can be like, shake the other person, be like, you should not throw her away. But then at the same time, he was saying to me, he's like, but I'm not throwing you away. You live across the country and like, this will never work. And like, we're not dating or anything, but like, we've been having really great conversation on the phone. And I mean, again, this was like a business relationship that started to kind of evolve into personal conversation too. Just like on advice. And then I started to feel like, okay, is something like, and he's like, well, I mean, I appreciate your friendship. He's like, but you live 2,800 miles away. I think I said that number a couple of times now.
It's more clear. I'm sorry. How many miles was it?
He didn't round up. First of all, the fact that he didn't round up to 3,000 tells me that there's room for growth here.
Right. It's like, exactly how many miles it is.
You Google search that. You know that.
Yeah.
He found me and he wanted me to be on his podcast, and I was. And I actually just got to know, like, long story short, he's in the industry too. And like, we got to know each other a little bit in the last month, and like, we haven't ever met. So I could not have the same feelings if I stood with him in person. But if I'm having emotional stimulation by our conversation, something's there. So what I basically was saying, I was like, you never said anything back. You just said that you felt like I made you feel attractive, and he hadn't felt that way in a long time. And he's like, well, what did you want me to say? I was like, oh, right?
Bush. Oh, that's great. Well, for the record, Michelle, you're only 620 miles away from me.
I'm gonna take this clip and send it to him, be like, boop. Yeah, but thank you. Like,
I'm just saying, buddy. Just saying.
And let me tell you something. He said to me, he was like, it's not that I don't find you attractive, but I said, well, I'm not asking you to like propose or even date me. The fact that like you're not even open to like connecting and talking further in that way. Mm-hmm. Like in other words, there's nothing we could do except continue to talk, but I think because, like, I obviously think I said I pushed him away a little bit because I got a little aggressive on the phone. I just was like calling him out on BS, and he's like, what are you talking about? I said, that's BS. You're going to put a sealant on something that seems a little like we're connecting just because I live far away. He's like, well, what would be the future in that? And he's like, I'm a realist. I'm like, well, you need to really imagine us together.
That's not a realist. That is the most bullshit excuse. Some people say, sorry, I'm a realist. No, you're just an idiot. I'm sorry. being a realist when you look at that and go, well, she lives exactly 2,800 miles away. Plane tickets are how much? Oh, what's that? Zoom is free? Oh, no, that's realist thinking right there.
Thank you, Mike. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what I mean. And I said that. I was like, no, someone who actually is interested in me would be like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And like, I have a daughter here. He said this, you have a daughter, you're set. I was like, okay.
Oh, okay. All right, she's got a kid. That's it. She's done. No more. That's it. She's set. She's set, guys, because she has a kid. Because people with kids don't ever get remarried or get in other relationships or what the hell ever. My mom didn't do it, and God.
And the thing is, like, I honestly was so little shocked because I felt like he wouldn't have said that, like, based off of our conversation. So I was like, what? I was like, okay. I was at least thinking he would say, I can't wait. Like, I'm supposed to be out there. I'm supposed to be in LA in July. So I was like, okay. Yeah, and that's where he lit. Oh, whatever. Who gives a shit? He's I mean, he said.
What's going to be able to find this guy? Because you say, I was talking to this guy who lives in LA. Oh, okay. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Well, I think that there was just there's a lot of men out there that don't want to do long distance. I don't want to do long distance, but if 39 years of my life has been spent in New Jersey, and I haven't found the love of my life, besides my daughter, the man that's going to generate butterflies and put effort in for me. So chances are the man that is going to be with me is not in New Jersey. That's how I look at it.
And you know what? I got to tell you, that's something I'm having to deal with myself too, because I look at it as I have been single since I moved here. You know, I was dating somebody when I moved here. We broke up not long after I got here. And it's been 6 years now, and it's like, okay, I am still haven't found anybody. Obviously, that person is not local.
Or now I thought that there's another spin to it.
Okay.
Or this is what he said. I do kind of agree with this because today I was like, yeah, I guess I can see the point.
Right.
You have something that you have something you're working on that requires your attention to the point where a relationship's going to take from it. And I agree with that. Because any relationship I get into right now, I'll have to sacrifice Divorce Diaries. It's just what's going to happen. Like, right. I was talking to this guy late at night. He would call me, or we would text, and then he would call me, and it was like 3-hour difference. So I'm up at 12 o'clock at night, and I'm like, yeah, but how can I get to bed? And then I wanted to talk to him. So I look at it like, well, maybe it's good that it happened because now you won't distract me.
That is actually, you know what? I'll give you that. That is a one way to look at it for sure.
That's one way to look at it, but then I cry in the fetal position because I need to be touched and loved.
No, I get it. I just want to cuddle. Come on.
And I'm getting my period, so it's going to be a full-blown Medusa.
Oh no!
Scorpio. Are you a Scorpio?
No, I'm a Capricorn.
Okay, you're a Cap.
Yeah.
So, and let me tell you, this guy was a Scorpio too, and so I was like thinking, and he has his birthday's on my favorite number, which is 4. So in my brain, I thought this is the one because I make up romance novels in my head.
My birthday's January 4th. Oh shit!
Is it? Yeah.
I love it.
The fact that you just agreed with me though on this guy, I am more in love with you than any moment ever that we've known each other because I thought I was crazy. I was like, this guy's making me feel like an idiot for saying anything. And my girlfriend was like, don't push him away. She was like, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. You're going to push him away. I was like, I don't push people. I shove them. They don't want to be around me. Bye.
I have been in that position. And I tell people, because I get that. I tell people all the time, this is what happens because I was raised by women until I was 10. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother until I was 10 years. I had my grandfather and some uncles, but like the main influences so I tell people it's like, I'm a guy and I mean, I'm straight, but like I approach everything. I feel almost like from a woman's perspective, because that's all I knew during the ages of development.
So was he. That's sick. So was he though.
Oh, so he's just an idiot. Okay, that's fine.
I think he has his guard up because he had like his wife cheated on him, his ex-wife cheated on him. But I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I just felt really bummed out because I was like, oh, this is great because this is the first person that has really sparked my like flat flame a little bit. And he's not even like, I typically wouldn't date the physical type. And there's no listen, you know I like big guys, right? Yep. I've said that before. And he's not a big guy from what I've seen. So like
skinny bitch. Okay. Anybody who's not as big as me is a skinny bitch. So it's
he's not skinny, but he's like short and stock. Like he's not stocky at all, but he's like, I don't know. He's not like what I probably would typically go for. So I was shocked. I was like, you're rejecting me. I'm just kidding.
Does he have a big head? Is he built like a Funko Pop? Like what are we talking
about?
No,
just a tinier guy. Like he's just I guess he's my ex-husband was like short and not huge. So maybe he's like that. But it didn't matter. The physical type didn't matter. It was just the fact that like the emotional stimulation with our conversation was happening. And I was just so bummed out that he was like, no, you live too far away. We can't do that like that.
Just shut it like that. Like just.
Yeah. He's like, I friend zoned you because I kept joking around. Like, yeah. Cause he kept saying our friendship. And I finally said to him, I'm like, I'm sorry, but why do you keep friend zoning me? And he's like, huh? I was like, you keep friend zoning me. He's like, oh, he's like, are you thinking about me more than a friend? I was like, well, I mean, we have emotionally stimulating conversations and I think that's a turn on. And he was like kind of taken aback that I kind of was open about that. But then he didn't really like, when I brought up the fact that he didn't say anything afterwards, he just appreciated the fact that I made him feel attractive. He's like, what do you mean? I've said 1,000 times how beautiful you are, or sexy you are. I said, yeah, you say that in the framework of us talking about business. I said, but I'm talking about how you're thinking about our interactions. He's like, he made some good points. It just hurt. Cause I'm like, to shut me down like that, like because of the distance, it sucks.
It does. And it's one of the, it's, I was going somewhere with this and I totally lost my train of thought. Shit.
Sorry. I throw so many things out there.
I can understand like being guarded, you've been hurt by something once before. You don't want it to happen again. But you know what, I've never personally understood. I think I made a video about this at one point. I've never understood the argument of we can't be together because we're such good friends. It's like, I could never be with somebody that I can't be good friends with.
Yeah.
Like I have to, like, if I'm going to be with somebody, like I have, because I'm going to be with this person a lot. I have to be able to like really enjoy my time with them.
You need to be best friends with your spouse. If you're not, it's not going to work.
If I can't be best friends with the person I'm with, it's not going to last. And that's to quote a terrible sitcom in The Big Bang Theory. You can't ruin friendship with a relationship. That's like trying to ruin a donut with chocolate sprinkles. It doesn't make sense to me. So whenever anybody gives me that excuse of we're just too good of friends, I'm like, that means nothing to me.
Someone's not into it. And here's the thing: this guy and I aren't like good friends because we have really just built some kind of colleagueship or friend. But my thing is, yeah, if he known me for a while, I was like, I just appreciate our friendship. Then I'm like, oh, you're not interested in me.
Yeah.
We haven't met. We haven't gotten to that point where we can gauge our chemistry together in a room. But I know there's something there. So I was like kind of surprised that he shut it down immediately because of the location. Unless he just, unless my intuition was wrong. But I could not, when you vibe with a person, phone, Zoom, in person, you get something from it. You feel it in your body.
Absolutely. And you bring up the conversation thing. That is such a huge thing for me too. I have talked to people like in online dating or been on a first date with someone. I'm like, if after 10 minutes we're not like, if we're one wording it back to each other or trying to get a response out of you about something is like yanking teeth, this isn't going to work.
No, and I give you credit. I can't do online dating. I can't.
It sucks. It's the worst. Never ever do it. Don't.
I just feel like that's an additional task that you have to undertake. Now I know that's how people meet. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I just feel like I can't even take on that right now. And I would love to meet someone in the future, but like they have to take on. A lot of the times, men don't want to take on. And I hate when people say this to me. They don't want to take on a single mom. My family has said that to me, and I'm like, well, fuck you then. I said, first of all, there's so many men and women that take on other people's children and their lives. So what's with about me? Because I'm a comedian, you know, I do jokes about my life. That scares a lot of people off. They don't say that, but like this guy was like, are you gonna put me in the show? And I was like, yeah. No, I didn't say that, but I was like, well, I mean, maybe. You're working yourself into it, but
I hate when I get that question. They'll be like, "Oh, so you're a comedian, so you were gonna like talk about me like on your podcast, your comedy show?" And I'm like, "If you do something funny, yeah, that is the risk you are taking."
And the thing is, I talked with a comedian and a writer this year. We were like flirting back and forth in New York City, and then I started to fear that what if we both did each other at the same show? So we ended up just staying friends, but I did go off on him because he was like slacking on the phone call, and he was supposed to come over, and I haven't let any man into my abode, let alone been with a man since the pandemic started. And the fact that I was going to open up my doors to him and he was like falling asleep during the work week, like get out of here. And then I laid into him and I told him to go F off basically. I said, unless you want to meet for a drink, I'm not having you at my house. You can't even wake up in the afternoon to call me. And he apologized. And then like, we're fine. Like we talk, but like, it's never going to be in that kind of way because then I was setting myself up too, to like bitch about him on stage. And I don't want to do that.
No. Unless it's funny.
Exactly. Well, there wasn't.
Funny, it's got to go. It's like if it's tragic or upsetting, it's like I might talk about it, I might not. If it's genuinely funny, it's going in the show.
Agreed.
Because there are times I've had exes be like, "Can you not talk about that on stage?" I'm like, too funny. I gotta. No, sorry. I won't use your name, but it's too funny. I have to.
Yeah, you don't have to use anybody's name. I mean, I've had, yes, and I do a part of my show where Michelle does her exes, and I don't use names, and that's all people need to know. You know, this is my life. People are very. I get it. I try to do as much self-deprecation as possible because I don't want to be. I'm just gonna make fun of everybody. But like you have to allow the healing through humor component, especially with mental health, is that if I'm sitting in bed and I'm upset about something and I can't get my mind off of it, of course I'm going to write material on it because it helps me. Mm-hmm. It helps me not feel like a reject that a man in LA who I have never even met is rejecting me. And he initially reached out to me about a show. Like it's just, and you know what? I think it's more, he's like, you have a lot of like rage inside you. I was like, okay, because I was like, well, maybe I do. Maybe I have a lot of rage about men that don't return my love, and I feel taken advantage of. I said, and you know what? That's not directed towards you, but I'm frustrated with the fact that every time I feel something for someone, it's like the poking. They run behind the chair and hide. And it's like, no, just kidding.
I hate people. That's what it comes down to. I hate people. And yet, I still want to fucking cuddle.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Now get over here, damn it, and cuddle me and make love to me properly.
Now.
Yes. With barbecue wings afterwards.
I mean, otherwise, what's the point?
I mean,
if we can't eat afterwards,
what's the point?
What are we doing? What are we doing? I was with somebody one time. She was like, "Oh God, I can't." I was like, "You want to go to somebody? I can't eat after sex. Why?" Then obviously I didn't do something right.
No, like that's the epitome of like, why would you not eat after sex? That's the best, unless you're that tired. But like,
I can live with that. If you I'm too worn out. You know what? That's cool. Awesome. I can live with that. I'm gonna get some popcorn and maybe dance in the hallway on the way down, but it's fine. Oh, holy shit. All right, Michele, I love you, and I love it when I get to talk to you.
I love you too.
Best, and you're so funny. Funny women are hot. I don't care what anybody says. It can't be with so many comics. I can't be with a woman who's funnier than me. Why the fuck not?
Oh my God, holy that's horrible.
It's male comics,
Well, they're afraid that they're going to be roasted, and they will. We don't even have to be comics to roast them. That's the problem.
I think a lot of it is they're afraid that they're going to get overshadowed, and that's just some.
Oh yeah.
But comics, we're all neurotic. It's fine. It's kind of inherent. I cannot wait. I want to know everything that develops with the show as it develops, and anytime you got something that needs shared or whatever, always let me know. But right now, I want you to tell the people at home who are listening where, before we go into our next segment, I want you to tell them where they can find you online.
They can find me on divorcediariesshow.com, and that has all access to my social media, the Indiegogo campaign, my podcast, my YouTube channel, anything but my direct phone number. But if you're divorcediariesshow.com.
So what we're going to do now is so this show is sponsored by a company called PODDECKS. PODDECKS supplies decks of cards for podcasters to help build episodes, generate interview questions, as well as a mobile app with all kinds of tutorials and gear listings. And we're going to pull from one of their digital decks right now. And because we have the host of Divorce Diaries on the show, you're damn right we're pulling from the relationship deck. So first and foremost, Michele Traina, how long do you think it takes before you love someone?
Oh, God. What do I tell people on a date? Oh, a couple months. But in reality, like a week. And you know why? Because I guess I say a week because if I've dated someone a couple of times, I know if I'm going to fall in love with them or not.
And you know what? I think that's realistic. I think a lot of the people say months or whatever because I don't know. There's like some stigma thing. They look like a psycho or something like that.
Yeah, stigma.
But I'm just kind of like, I could but yeah, I've known I was in love with people who I hadn't dated just because I'd spent enough time with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for being about the real, true, and honest and transparent about it now. Like I can tell right away. Like I could tell that I'd fall in love with this guy. But I mean, never mind.
But if his dick's too small.
You know what? Not too small. If it's not working properly and we need some additional help that he doesn't want to get, then I could be too wide. You don't know. I'm not going to put it all on him. I don't want to put it all on somebody.
There's always, remember, folks, there's three sides to every story. His side, her side, and what actually went wrong. Do you kiss on the first date ever?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. If I'm feeling the guy, pucker up, baby. I'm almost vaccinated fully on Friday. Yes.
I just got my first one over the weekend. So, let's see here. No, those are all about current partners.
Which I don't have any of.
Don't have any of. What are the most difficult topics for you to share with a partner?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Difficult topics. Well, I guess it's what are we doing? Because that's always been are we gonna? It's not that it's difficult. I'm always afraid that they're gonna say, "Well, I'm not looking for anything serious." So commitment. Commitment in a real level, not funny joking around about it, but commitment and oh God, I guess their number. Oh, getting tested. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Getting tested. STD stuff. Oh, yeah. I hate having that conversation because I want to know when was your last test, but
my last girlfriend wanted me to get tested. I was like, all right, I have insurance. That's fine.
Yeah, I get tested for every time I changed partners, or with my last guy that I was with, it was every 6 months because I couldn't tell if he was lying or not about his ex-wife. Well, she wasn't his ex-wife, so go figure. So I would bug out. But
go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
No, and so those two things, I think it's are you, what's going on? Are you like, when was your last test? And I never end up, I'm always afraid to ask, but I'm always like, you have a condom, you have a condom, you have a condom, and it's like, but it's anxiety for me. And that and the commitment. I don't know which one is more anxiety.
This isn't from the card, but like, what does commitment mean for you? Like in a relationship, like what's commitment?
Putting in effort and being there, at my show, calling me, texting me throughout the day, checking in, but not being overly, on top of me, just checking in and being sincere about it. Like I have not had that. I just don't think like every person I've been with has been like all over the place.
You can't have that. You can't have that, which kind of leads into how do you know your relationship is over?
When they've blocked me.
That's fair.
No, I mean, I think I know it's over when there's the communication stops, and I don't like to admit that because then it hurts. It hurts bad.
Let's go. Let's do two more here. What is the best way to earn trust in a relationship?
By showing up and not being showing up. You're putting in effort, you're calling, you're texting, and you're not acting shady, like you're just transparent. I think it's also a vibe you have. I think if you can tell when you talk, like I could tell you're a trustworthy person, if guys are constantly on their phone on a date, or they're forgetting to text you or forgetting to call you, and they make excuses that they're working. No. I mean, I think showing up and putting in effort are two huge things. The second they give you something to question or turn around and like scratch your head, that's a bad sign. And many of them do that. So it's scary.
Yeah. The phone
present company excluded.
The phone thing especially irks me because it'll be like you text, I'll text an ex and he's like, sorry, I didn't have my phone on me. Every time I'm with you, that thing is fucking glued to your hand. So why is it when I want to talk to you suddenly, I don't have my phone on me? Bullshit.
Every single time. Every guy has said it to me, or they're working. Mm-hmm. If you're on set and you are posting on your Instagram story, but I've texted you and you haven't responded.
Oh yeah. Don't think I won't check that shit.
And the thing is, they see me joke about it, and they still do it.
God. I love your guy laugh. It's
inside that booty. That's what one of my exes said to me when he texted me on New Year's. I texted him New Year's Eve, like a lonely person that I was feeling sad, and I was like, hi. And I'm getting the sun out of my eyes. You're fine. He sent me a message the next day. He's like, I need my bollocks licked. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, is this how we're starting off 2021, Michelle? We're still engaging with your ex. And so my ex-boyfriend.
Problems with that. So many problems with that.
Yeah. So I said to him, I said, I just want you a part of my life. And he's like inside that booty. So I did a bit about it. I don't know if he's mad about that or not, but.
Wow.
Yeah, he really said that to me. And I was like, okay, that's a pretty funny line.
I mean, God damn.
He just posts pictures of himself with his Jordans or with his cigars or his backyard, and like his face is cut off, like just to show his eye that he's out with people. So annoying. I mean, he was like, I dated him for like 6 or 7 months back in like 2015, 2016. That was the longest real relationship I've had since divorce. The other relationship I had was with somebody who I was hiding because he was married. And I'm so embarrassed by that, but like, it's the truth. Like I wanted to believe that he was going to get divorced and get separated. He was just staying for the kids. It was just a lie, but I wasn't out in the open with him. So how could I believe that? It was just a that was a very bad situation for me. And that took up 1.5 years of my life. So, I mean, I prevented myself from meeting somebody really great. And then the guy before that was another cop who did the same kind of shit as the other cop did, which not all cops are bad by any means, but the two that I were dating were clearly not about commitment or sobriety.
Michelle. All right, one last one. What's one thing about love and relationships that scares you?
Getting out of love, falling out of love.
Really?
Yeah, I'm scared of that. I'm scared of that actually happening. It happened in my marriage. It happened in my relationship before I got married, and I just didn't realize it.
What do you think causes people, not even necessarily you, just in people in general, to fall out of love with someone?
I don't think there was room for it to grow in the first place.
Really?
Yeah, I think that, and sometimes there is, and sometimes you grow apart. I think that's what happened. I think that, though, essentially there was a lot of red flags in the very beginning that I didn't take, and I just should have. I changed a lot about myself. I think that there's factors that are involved in that are different for every situation. I think growth is one thing. I think if you change something about yourself and you suppress it, that's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And and sometimes there's no like specific. Maybe sometimes it's a combination of things. Mental health is a huge part. That's for sure. If someone doesn't get their mental health in check,
oh yeah,
like that is a big part. And like, and that's for men or women. Like making sure that you're your best self at all times, and really working on yourself. Meanwhile, I rage text people. Just love me right now. I don't care.
with your marriage, I just thought of something. So like, and you mentioned like when you got married, like you put like, performing on hold to go start a family and all that. Do you ever wonder, do you think that like getting into, growing apart and the falling out of love thing, do you ever think that maybe subconsciously there was like resentment under the surface?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't he didn't say go ahead and stop acting full time, but I knew that deep down, like my choice of leaving full time and to teach full time and not worry about money and be in one place at a time. And I don't think he was super comfortable if I got a part that I had to make out the guy. Like, I think it was definitely the suppression. And every time I suppressed it, there was the lava was ready to pop up like that. Right. So when I started teaching in Trenton, I had met somebody who I worked with that I was very attracted to. And that's when the suppression started to bubble up because I couldn't contain myself anymore. It wasn't that I had an affair with the guy or anything like that. It just was like my true self was like coming out more. And I was like, what happened to me? And I couldn't hide it. I just couldn't suppress anything anymore and make myself feel guilty for being who I was because it wasn't right if I was, with somebody else and having guy friends and all this other bullshit that I was telling myself, which was stupid, And
then you feel like it builds that pressure, and with any pressure, sooner or later, if you let it go too long, then that's when real mistakes get made. And
I could have cheated on him, and that I did not want to do. I didn't want to cheat on my husband. That was a big thing. Like, no matter how much you don't love somebody anymore, you're not in love, or how much angst you have towards each other, I didn't want to do that, obviously. So that's why I got out. That's a big main reason, because I thought I'm never going to be happy fully. I'm not going to be happy in this relationship. And he blamed me. He's like, we just got married. Like, we were married 5.5 years, but it happened pretty quickly of how I felt, but I suppressed it. And we went to therapists. We had a baby. A lot of stuff happened, which was great that we had a baby. I mean, it did actually subside for a while when I had my daughter, when I was pregnant. But it comes to light. Your issues come to light when you bring a child into it. You see the other person, you see things that you're like, oh,
especially because now you've got, and I'm not a parent, so I can't speak to any of this, but you've got another whole person you're now responsible for, who's their well-being. You are not solely, there's two parents involved, but more or less solely responsible for, that you have to take into account with the decisions you make then.
Absolutely. And then you start to realize, like, this is what my life is going to be. No, I didn't want to be unhappy. I didn't want either of us to be unhappy and angry. That wouldn't have done anything good for our child, So, and he has a girlfriend and stuff now. Like, we're in a better place.
And that's that light at the end of the tunnel is, did things improve? Did things get better? Are you happier?
I'm definitely happier, and things definitely improved. You know why I'm happier? Amidst not having like the love of my life, having a partner. It's about being myself. I live everyday me, and I think that's the best thing you could give yourself. Be who you are. Like someone asked me on another podcast, they're like, "Well, some people lose their identity in divorce." I was like, you know what? I got my identity back because of divorce.
That is an amazing way to look at it, and I cannot think of a better way to a better line to wrap this thing up on with you, Michele. I cannot wait to see what happens next with the show and with you, and I'm always like Mike Wells is coming over tonight, and we're always talking about when we did the Funny Bone show. He's always asking how you're doing, and I love getting to brag about how things are going with you when you were doing the outdoor shows during COVID and all that. So,
well, I love you. I think you're amazing and wonderful, and you're spreading humor and cheer throughout the world. And I'm going to be in Ohio at Funny Stop on July 15th.
Make sure that's not when I'm on vacation.
Yeah, and Doug's coming. Doug's going to be there too. So me and him, we're doing Divorce Diaries, baby.
Yeah.
Funny Stop.
Awesome. Well, I hope I'm going to take time off work to make sure.
Yeah! I'm working on Wiley's. I'm having my manager call them because we want to try to do a couple of spots while we go to LA in July too. Yes. Thank you so much, Mike, for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait to, like I said, I can't wait to see what happens next. And tell everybody one more time where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me divorcediariesshow.com. We're all social media, Divorce Diaries Show, all day, every day.
And it's Michele with one L, people.
Yes! One L, baby.
And it's Traina.
Yes!
Fuck.
Thank you, Mike.
Michele,
you gotta do that for my podcast.
It's Michele Traina, right? No, oh, Jesus. Okay.
That is awesome. You have to record that for me and do it for something I record, like for one of my videos, because that's amazing.
All right. Well, we're gonna let Michele go grate some more cheese, and eat it with her strawberries, because I guess that's a thing. And and with that being said, Michele, thanks again, and we'll talk to you again soon.
I'm Mike. Thank you.
Bye, Michele. And with that, guys, that is the VIP table for this month with Michele Traina. Love that woman with all my heart. You guys make sure you check out the Divorce Diaries, divorcediariesshow.com. You can check out more about this show. We got a brand new website now, tblpod.net. That's tblpod.net. Make sure you guys also head on over to PODDECKS.com and check out everything they have going on there. And you can use the code TBL10, TBL10 to get 10% off your order at checkout. And also, remember, guys, if you have a podcast of your own and you want to get an awesome website for it, just go to podpage.com and you can use the link down in the description and make that happen. We'll see you guys again next month. I was burping the microphone for another VIP table. Who knows who we're going to get? I love doing the interviews, but we're gonna get some. We've had Adam Mara, we've had Michele Traina. Who the hell knows who we're going to get next? But keep on supporting the Patreon. If you're not, head over to patreon.com/TBL_pod. $3 a month, join our VIP section and get access to cool stuff like this and a whole lot more. My name is Mike Shea. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Mike Shea. Follow Mike Wells on Twitter and Instagram at Mike WTF Wells. And we will see you guys next time. As always, live well, rock on, take care, and bye-bye.